Bluey's mom is one of the best moms in cartoons, and we're going to prove it right now. We have lots of wonderful moms as examples in cartoons, like Elastigirl from The Incredibles, Marge from The Simpsons, and many others. But if there's one who stands out among them, it's definitely Chilli. On Father's Day, Bluey wants to make a perfect drawing to give Bandit as a gift. One so perfect that it'll go straight to decorate the fridge door. She tries to draw several funny moments with Bandit, but nothing seems perfect. She ends up getting really sad, and Chilli notices there's something more going on. She even asks Bluey if there's something she wants to tell her. Bluey remembers she got upset when Bingo made a drawing. The problem wasn't Bingo, but where the drawing was placed. Chilli pinned Bingo's drawing right on top of Bluey's. And if you have siblings, you know what I'm talking about. Everyone always thinks their parents have a favorite. Bluey thought the same thing. Knowing that, Chilli apologizes. She says she's not perfect either, and that being a mom is really hard. Bluey replies that drawing is too. At that moment, Chilli reminds Bluey that sometimes when Bandit plays one of his silly games, Bluey ends up scraping her knee or something like that. But he always says, "Good thing you're tough." So Chilli says, "Yes, drawing is rough, but..." And Bluey finishes with, "Good thing I'm rough." That way, Chilli teaches that we don't need to keep chasing perfection. She also shows that Bluey is strong and can handle the task, no matter how hard it seems. You know what's not hard at all? Sticking around to watch another super fun video from Zigzag that's starting right now. And speaking of perfection, the show doesn't hide that Chilli isn't perfect. We see moments where she herself learns a lesson. In the episode Baby Race, Bluey asks Chilli if she's better than Judo at the ring toss game, and Chilli tells her to run her own race. But Bluey doesn't understand, so Chilli tells her the story of when she had to learn that herself. It all started when Bluey learned to roll over on her own very early, which made Chilli really happy and maybe a bit too proud. But soon after, Judo learned to sit up, and Chilli got a little competitive. She wanted Bluey to learn to walk before Judo. She even went to the doctor because Bluey did everything a bit differently from everyone else. Classic Bluey, right? Instead of crawling, she scooted on her bottom. And when she finally crawled, it was only backward. In the end, Judo ended up walking first. Chilli says she felt really bad. She was also doing something for the first time, raising a baby. But she felt like it was all her fault and that she was doing everything wrong. So much so that Chilli stopped going to the mothers group. That's when Bella, Coco's mom, noticed something was wrong and went to visit the Healer family's house. Bella then shows Chilli a picture of her own family, full of all the many kids she has. Chilli comments that Bella must have learned a lot, and with 9 kids, she really must have. Bella agrees and tells Chilli she needs to know she's doing really well. From that moment on, Chilli decided to stop comparing herself and run her own race, just like she tells Bluey to do. But since that's a hard lesson to learn, there's another moment where Chilli reminds Bluey that we shouldn't compare ourselves to others. One day, Bluey decides to play a game where she draws a fantastic adventure and invites the whole family to join in. Right at the beginning, Bandit tells Bluey that she draws really well. But even so, he mistakes the fairy wings she drew for a sandwich. Bandit warns that he's not very good at drawing. He even tries to draw a horse, but it ends up looking more like a donkey. Then Chilli shows up on a beautiful horse she drew, and everyone is impressed. Finally, Bingo appears, and they all set off on an adventure that we see come to life as if their drawings had become real. In the story Bluey created, they're searching for a dragon, but when she tries to draw one, it ends up looking like something else. She gets upset, but says that it wasn't the dragon anyway, and from that moment on, she starts giving up on drawing, always asking the others to draw for her. Chilli, being the observant mom she is, notices that Bluey has lost confidence and tries to encourage her to draw by saying that her own hand hurts. Pretty clever, right? Too bad it doesn't work. So Chilli decides to show Bluey 2 different memories, one of Bandit and one of herself. In Bandit's memory, he's happily drawing cars as a kid until one of his classmates criticizes his drawings. After that, Bandit says he stopped drawing. In Chilli's memory, we see her mom show up when Chilli thinks she's not very good at drawing. Her mom says the drawing really isn't as good as the picture she was trying to copy. Wow, what kind of mom says that? But then she adds that it's great for a 7-year-old and tells her that with practice, she'll get better. With that, Chilli teaches Bluey that no one is born knowing how to do things. We have to practice a lot to develop a skill. We've seen that Chilli is really good at drawing. But what about you? What skill do you love to practice as much as she does? Tell us in the comments using the hashtag Chilli. The episode Sleepy Time is definitely one of the fan favorites of the series. In it, Bingo says she wants to sleep like a big girl and wake up in her own bed. Of course, Chilli gives her full support. When Bingo falls asleep, she imagines herself floating through the universe. Meanwhile, in real life, she starts wandering around the house until she ends up in her parents' bed, and Chilli ends up in Bluey's bed, since Bluey took her spot in the couple's bed. There's so much confusion that at one point, Bandit ends up on the floor. Poor guy. After lots of wandering and adventures through the dream universe, Bingo ends up back in her own bed, but without a blanket. In the dream, she finds herself alone and cold. Back in reality, Chilli wakes up to the sound of her daughter shivering. To keep Bingo warm, she lies down on top of her. At the same time, in the dream, Bingo sees the big warm sun speaking to her in Chilli's voice. She says she'll always be there, even when Bingo can't see her. No wonder so many people cry during this episode. Have you ever cried watching it? That's how Chilli shows she gives her daughters the space to grow, but never stops being there for them. The episode Rain is almost entirely without dialogue. It starts raining, and while Chilli is worried about taking the clothes off the line, Bluey just wants to play in the rain. She sees a little stream of water forming, flowing from the house's gutter all the way to the street. She gets an idea and decides to build a barrier to stop the water from passing. At first, Bluey uses only her hands and feet, but it's not enough. So she runs back inside the house to grab more things to make the barrier bigger. Every time she goes inside, she ends up making a mess on the floor, and Chilli has to clean it all over again and again. At first, we see that Chilli is really worried about keeping the house clean and doesn't want everything to get wet. Adults are often so worried that they forget to have fun, you know? Until one moment, she finally gives up and decides to go play with Bluey, helping her build a bigger barrier. Chilli realizes that sometimes it's good to just relax and have fun for a while, and she lets Bluey be a kid. And you can relax too with our new videos. Just click the subscribe button and chill with us every day. Even the best moms need to rest. And that's exactly what we see in the episode Sheepdog. Chilli shows up looking like she's already done a ton of things all day and just needs a moment of silence. So, she tells Bandit that she needs 20 minutes alone without anyone talking to her. Luckily, Bandit is a great husband and does everything he can to stop the girls from calling their mom. He even pretends to be a sheep, which is the game Bingo and Bluey choose to play. At the end of the episode, Wendy is about to call Chilli, but Bandit, unable to speak since sheep don't talk, headbutts her on the butt. Of course, Wendy gets really mad about it and starts yelling for Chilli. Who wouldn't, right? But Bluey explains that her mom asked for 20 minutes alone. At that moment, she admits she thinks it means her mom regrets having kids. But Wendy explains that's not true, and Bluey seems to understand that it's okay for Chilli to want a little rest. So, did we manage to convince you that Chilli is one of the best moms in cartoons?